considering becoming a programmer? That's something I certainly did and thousands of people have done, particularly since the beginning of the pandemic. Maybe you're excited by the idea of remote and flexible work, the fact there are great career opportunities, or the fact that you can actually have something to show for the work that you've done. This is the only video you're going to need to help you make that decision. We're going to look at everything from suggesting great resources for you to get started, debunking some of the myths around programming and programmers, and also telling you about some of the things you should consider before embarking on this journey. And most importantly, we're going to do this by diving into the lair of a real live programmer. All right, guys, we're heading into the lair. Quiet so we don't disturb him.
Hey guys!
Hey guys, we've got my dear friend Yella, who is going to take us through all things programming. Starting off, debunking all the myths about programmers.
This is definitely how I program. Actually, a fair part of programming is talking to people. I normally have talks several times a day, meetings and calls with colleagues just to find out exactly what the kind of thing is that they want and how we can address it, many times in ways that I haven't thought about.
So Yella, are you saying you don't have 5 hours worth of calls every single day at work? That's what I do.
No, not 5 hours. We do, of course, talk a lot, and I have several meetings every day normally. But you do need to be prepared to sometimes work for yourself for a day or several, where you're really solving your own problems.
Some people like that kind of thing.
That's my job, boy! No, really, I have friends. This is Mark. Hey, careful with Mark.
You do get the pleasure of lots of great programming jokes, though.
Emma, you know why Java programmers have to wear glasses?
Why?
Because they don't see sharp.
Jokes aside, there does seem to be this misconception about programmers being unfriendly or not liking to talk to people. In my experience, this is definitely not the case. You guys know I love salsa dancing, and so many of my salsa friends are programmers. Yella being one of my favourite dance partners, and that's perfect timing to cut to a 10-second dance break.
Programming is about problem solving, and it's very creative. It's absolutely not boring, but it's also not for everyone. You need to think about a problem in an abstract way, break it down into little bits, and formulate that in a way that a computer can understand it. And it's awesome when that works out, but it has to be something you enjoy. The other cool thing about programming is that you always produce something in the end, maybe a website or a game or an app. There can be a lot of reward in that, but it may not always be as visible or tangible as other disciplines, so you do also have to enjoy the process.
Wait, what do you mean it's not tangible? Like, what do you build?
So personally, I'm an audio programmer, meaning I do the sound and music implementation. So for example, I've worked in games where I build the sound engine, so everything behind, so then my colleagues can put in all the sounds for like dragons and gunshots and sharks and whatnot. Is a computer science degree helpful to have? Absolutely. Is a computer science degree a necessity to become a programmer? Absolutely not. In fact, I would say that a programming career is probably a fairly accessible career without a computer science degree. First of all, a computer science degree is very broad and can sometimes be very abstract and academic. So that can be great and useful at times, especially if you're into academics, but many programming jobs are much more practical than that. Also, it's a career where you're learning every day on the job, and Googling is not cheating. It's in fact encouraged, and I do it every day all the time. Programmers are a super collaborative bunch who don't normally really hide their secrets. So it's one of the cheapest and easiest subjects, I believe, that you could just learn by yourself with all the resources that are available online. There are loads of different things you could be building while you're programming. You could be building websites, games, banking algorithms, music software, apps for your phone, dating apps, software for your espresso machine, anything at all. Well, yes and no. So a lot of these super intensive 12-week programs where you become a programmer in just 3 months have popped up. And in some ways, they are a great introduction into the world of programming. However, the 12 weeks, I think, is a little bit misleading. When you actually look into it, normally there's a lot of pre-work you need to do before you actually get accepted to a program like that, often up to 50 hours. That, plus the £8,000 or so they might charge, makes that it's not a decision that you would take lightly. In fact, doing some of the pre-work for a course like this is probably the best way to find out if programming is a good career for you.
Now that we've debunked all of the myths about programming and programmers, if you're still here and you're still excited about the idea, let's talk about actually turning it into action. And Yella knows because I probably toyed with this idea of becoming a programmer for 2 years and I never did any programming. So my advice to you is stop watching videos. Well, finish this video, then subscribe. Then stop watching videos. But the way you're going to actually get to the answer is actually doing some programming. So when lockdown happened, Yella actually got a group of us friends together who were all interested in programming, and he ran a little course for us. And a couple of weeks in, I realized very quickly that despite Yella's amazing teaching style, obviously, despite that amazing teaching style, the frustration of solving problems that, like, I was pulling my hair out, telling Yella I've been working on this problem for 3 hours and I still can't find the solution. That frustration, for me personally, didn't match the reward that I got when I solved that problem. And I never would have figured that out if I had just continued to think about whether I should become a programmer. So clarity doesn't come from what you're thinking about, it comes from actually doing it.
So the first thing I would consider is think about what you want to achieve with a programming career. So would you like to be a web developer? Would you like to make games? Would you like to make apps for your phone? Would you like to make the software in your espresso machine? All these things are important because there is lots of different resources out there that will help you, only if you know which way you want to go.
Alright, Yella, so now we're going to get to the big one, the big question, the big meaning of life, deep stuff, you know. This is one of the most common questions that you get from people who are looking to get into programming. Definitely a question I had. What language should I learn? Because there are so many of them out there. Can you list a few?
You can list a few, yeah. Java, C, C#, Python, JavaScript.
I mean, yeah, the list is never ending,
Go,
and you
Ruby.
But you're not gonna learn all of these languages, right? It's just not gonna happen in one go. So, what do you recommend that people start with?
So this goes back again to the question: what do you want to program for? And there are a couple of golden rules, and you can look them up. Like maybe not all in this video, but for example, if you want to do web development, you probably want to do something like JavaScript, maybe PHP.
JavaScript?
JavaScript.
JavaScript.
Java. If you want to do more application programming, you might want to consider more C#. If you're considering going into game development, probably C++ and or C# are your best bets. If you want to learn about machine learning, Python is probably your best bet. And if you don't know what you want to do, but you just want to get a taste, then maybe also Python is probably a very good place to start. Python was literally developed to be the easiest programming language out there.
Well, hang on a minute. So what about all these courses that are teaching you HTML and CSS, and aren't they programming languages?
They kind of are. HTML and CSS are specifically for web design, and we don't really consider them programming languages. They're some kind of in-between computer language. I'm probably offending a lot of people.
You've been lying to us. So they're not real programmers?
Abstain from vote! Abstain from vote! Don't kill me!
Okay, right. So depending on what you want to do, that's the language you might want to start with.
Absolutely. And there's only one way, which is do a quick Google search. Google is your friend in your entire programming career. I'm still several hours on Google and Stack Overflow every day, probably.
So if you've considered all of the things we've talked about and you're itching to get started, here are some great resources that we can recommend. So if you feel that you'd benefit from really structured learning, you're sure this is for you, you've done some programming, you're feeling comfortable, and you really just want to fast track your career, then I can highly recommend General Assembly, who do these 12-week bootcamp courses. You will go there every day, 9 to 5, basically train as you would in a job. And after those 12 weeks, they have an incredibly high hiring rate after you finish, because they also partner with a lot of companies who want junior programmers and junior web developers. I can highly recommend. I did a digital marketing course with them, and I'll leave a link down below if you were interested in more structured learning. Other than that, you could also look at a lot of the great online resources.
Yeah, online there's a wealth of different resources on different websites that will teach you programming from start or at quite a high level. So just to name a few, there's Free Code Camp, which is completely free, which will take you like step by step from the very start. The other things that require a tiny bit of investment but start at like a few dozen pounds would be Udemy, Brilliant.org, Code Academy.
And we'll leave the links to all of these down below so you can explore them all. But also, I think one of the ones that you recommended in your course, Jelle, Harvard courses.
Yes, it's incredible that you can attend the lectures of an institution that normally costs £100,000, and you can just watch all the courses online for free on YouTube.
So, closing this off nicely now, we should talk about the fact that we did debate about what the title of this video should be. So I thought it should be very clickbaity, why you shouldn't become a programmer.
And I want it to be called Why You Should Become a Programmer.
Honestly, clearly, obviously. We decided that, the why you shouldn't become a programmer was a bit more clickbaity. But it really is just about figuring out what you're going to be good at. So programming wasn't the right decision for me, but...
And it might be for you.
Yeah, and it was clearly a great career decision for Jelle. You love it.
Yeah, I mean, I love my job. It's great. I get to build stuff. Personally, I make games, and it's fun every day. So the main thing we want to get across is not whether you should or shouldn't become a programmer, because we can't tell you that. Just that you do your own research and that you started with the correct expectations.
And you will know. Do some programming for a couple of weeks and you'll have the answer there for you. So thank you so much for watching. Also thank you to Jelle. I love to bring my friends on and you can get actual information from a real programmer, someone who's done it. And also bearing in mind, someone finished the course that Jelle was running for us and now she's actually doing
Two people.
So Jelle's got a really high success rate too. But I think that's it. It's like actually doing some of the work will help you figure it out so quickly. So thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you get access to new videos every Friday. Have a great week.